I'm from the planet Gallifrey in the constellation of Castabras. I am the oncoming storm. Let's go!
Okay, this is my Su-26. This used to be one of my favourite tanks. Yes, I know it's a scumbag, but it used to be a very different kind of scumbag. It's a tier 3, so it's low tier to begin with. But back before patch 8. I think it's 8.5. Either way, it's a long time ago. Back then, before they nerfed all the artillery, there were only 8 tiers of tanks. It was tier 3 then as well. Your tier 8s, though, were the equivalent of your tier 10 any other tank. So you had to be careful when you chose artillery and you platooned to make sure you were in the right tier. Otherwise, your teammates could get suddenly put into a horrible situation. But the tier 3, the Su-26 Russian artillery, was absolutely brilliant. It was different from all other artillery. For one thing, it had a turret, which only the Batchat 155 had in those days. It was the French tier 8, and I actually tried to get that because I loved the Su-26 so much, and I thought it might be because of the turret it's got that I love it. So I went up both the French artillery line and the French light tank line, because you can switch over halfway through and go over to the French artillery from them both. It's the reason why I have the ELC AMX and the 12T, because I unlocked them trying to get to the French tier 8 artillery. That's the only good thing that came out of it. I love those two tanks, and but that's the only good thing that came out of going for the French artillery, because basically the test server came up and I discovered it wasn't the fact that the Su-26 had a turret, because so did the Batchat 155. I played it and I hated it. I properly hated it. I discovered the reason I like the Su-26 is because it's different from every other tank, from every other artillery. With most artillery, you sit at the back of the map in a bush somewhere. You go to your overhead view and you just rain shots in on any tank that appears anywhere on the map. You never used to be able to do that with the Su-26. It had a turret, which was great, because it meant that when you found your target, if it moved, you could move your turret rather than moving the base of your tank, and you wouldn't lose your aiming circle. And it had a very small aiming circle anyway, so it more or less, the round went more or less exactly where you aimed it, which was brilliant. It's a low tier one. Even in those days, it may have been the equivalent of a tier 5, but it did very little damage. It had 2 types of ammunition. They were both HE, and for months I made the mistake of playing the first HE rather than the second HE, which did more damage per shot. I eventually corrected that mistake and made some much better videos, did some great things with it. But the only other thing it had was premium ammo, and I never play with premium ammo. So I foraged into it a little bit when when you could buy it with credits, but I decided I didn't like having premium ammo, and I just stuck with what could be bought with credits normally. And so yeah, it had those 2 types of ammo, but it also had a very short range. This is the point. This is what made the Su-26 so much more fun to play. You couldn't sit at the back of the map just waiting for targets to appear on the opposite side of the map and raining shells down on them, because it couldn't reach the other side of the map. You had to move up. You had to find the cover. There was an actual skill to it. It also meant that there was a chance the enemy would be able to spot you, because if their scouts suddenly pushed forward and you'd move too far up in order to hit targets at the back of the map, you were going to be one of the tanks they'd come across. And you could go to shotgun mode and try and kill them, but, you know, there's a good chance that either A, their scouts will kill you, either machine gun you to death or whatever gun they've got just blat you, but the enemy artillery will be all over you, and not to mention any tank destroyers that might have a line of fire on you, and you'd be dead. So you had to weigh up the fact that your gun couldn't reach the other side of the map and you had to move forward with not going too far forward so you could get easily killed. And it's a hard... It was a hard decision to make, and it made the game fun in this. It wasn't just sit there one hand on the mouse, the other hand eating a burger, taking your shots. Anyway, all that is a roundabout way of bringing me to the videos I'm going to show you today. So along comes what I think was patch 8.5, and everything changes for the tank destroyers. They decide to bring them in line with every other type of tank, your tank destroyers, your heavies, and put 10 tiers in. So they introduced 2 new tiers. Now for most tier 3s that meant they became tier 4s. A new tier 3 was brought in and they were upped to tier 4, which was fine, but it wasn't for the SU-26. That stayed at tier 3, so whereas it had been the equivalent of a tier 5, it was now a tier 3, no matter what you said about it. It had its gun taken away and a new one put on. This gun could now reach anywhere on the map. It had a much bigger aiming circle, so it could miss much more easily, and it could no longer damage KV-1s. I mean, shots would just hit it, explode, and do nothing. So they basically made it like every other tank in the game, and that was very sad. And that's the reason why I stopped playing my my SU-26.
I still think it's funny that I gave away ponies.
Let's go. And so jump forward about a year later, and I decided to start playing my SU-26 again. Now, a while back when I needed cash, I sold all my other artilleries I owned. I had artilleries in other nations. I had German ones, I had French ones. I sold them all. I knew I was never going to want to play them again, so I took the money and I ran. But I decided quite recently I'd give the SU-26 a go again. And the problem was I just jumped in it and went for it without checking anything out. And can anyone notice the mistake I've made by not checking my tank before taking it into a battle? It will become apparent later, but I'm sure most of you have realised what I've done. I haven't noticed it yet, and I'm playing the game. But I made a huge mistake with this game. A mistake that might have changed the outcome of this one. So I'm here on Cliff. It's a tier 5 match. I'm in a tier 3 tank. This will happen to the SU-26 a lot. It will get into a lot of tier 5 matches, a fair few tier 4 matches, and maybe one in every 25-26 games will be a tier 3 match. So if you get one in it, enjoy it. My first hit, I've just killed a T-28, I think that was. Yeah, I think that was a T-28. Either way, I robbed that kill blatantly. And I'm doing alright so far. I've made 2 hits. I'm trying to support the troops where I can. KV-1, I don't stand a chance of penning that at all. There are now a lot of tier 5s that this tank will no longer damage. It used to be able to. Before, with its old gun, it used to be deadly accurate, and it never did a great deal of damage, but it always used to do enough damage, you know. I don't know why I'm shooting at an AT2. I've got fuck all chance of doing any damage to that ever. I suppose I could land a shot on top of it and possibly damage it that way, but it's very unlikely. But yeah, with the old gun, I used to be able to damage, you know, whatever tank happened to come along. Now, though, not a hope. So I'm doing my thing here. Again, while I'm firing at the KV-1, there is another tank there. And as you just heard there, I didn't even scratch them. I really want to be firing at that Type 34, the medium. But he's dead now anyway. I'll continue firing at him while I've got a target to shoot at, but I'm wasting my ammo here. That one bounced. That one missed completely. And I should be leaving these tanks alone. I am very unlikely to damage them. Someone's killed that KV-1. That's good. The walking noob, apparently, killed that KV-1. Yes. This is a much better thing for me to target. However, it's moving way too fast for me to be able to hit him. It would take an extraordinary shot to hit him. And pretty soon there's going to be a big cliff in the way and I won't be able to hit him at all. There we go. But have you noticed the mistake I've made? Oh, there's Arty. Got to get Arty if you can. Missed him. Keep firing. That sounds like I hit him. Whether I damaged him or not. That looks like he might have moved. Or it missed. That might have hit him, you know, from the sound it made, but at the time I wasn't paying that much attention. 82. Waste of a shot, but knowing me, I'll take it anyway. Shocker! Didn't go anywhere near him. Don't know what that did, but I can bet it didn't damage him. Now they're one of our tank destroyers is going to have a look for their artillery. I fired around where I thought he might be. He wasn't there. But any second now, there he is. I enabled him to get a ram kill. Unfortunately, he died. But it took out the... He didn't even get the kill for it. It just says the grill crashed into him and died. Oh, that's sad. But I did a lot of damage to the grill before he died, which was nice. And now there's two of us left. No, there's three of us left. But one of us is a Wolverine that's been sat in our cap circle from the beginning. And while I don't know for 100% he's AFK, I'm assuming that he is, and realising that there's very little I can do to help us out against the one tank they've got left. So I'm making a dash for their cap circle. That's probably the best thing I can do. And that's fine. But if I can have a shot at this guy, I will. I think it's their VK that's left. The one that was with the KV-1 earlier. Right, now I've got a choice to make here. I'm being told in chat to go cap. And they're right. I shouldn't be taking shots at him because of the mistake that I've made. And the mistake that I've made, anyone that hasn't worked it out yet, you've left it too late. I've loaded all armor piercing. I have no HE shells at all. And armor piercing is fine if you make a direct hit. Look at chat. Cap, go! And he's right. He's going to be in our cap circle in no time whatsoever. At the moment, he's being cautious because he knows that there's a Wolverine there. But in a minute, he's going to know that that Wolverine is AFK. So, if I can get down here in time, possibly that Wolverine will be useful for one more thing. He can, once I'm in the cap circle, he can spot their VK, and I can put a round into him and possibly kill him if I'm lucky enough to pen him. If I had HE, I could do him with splash damage, and that's all I'd need. But with AP, I need a direct hit and I need to pen him. And if he's got too much health, the chances of me actually penning him with 2 shots with this gun are almost nil. There he is, he's just appeared. He's been taking his time, he's been working around that Wolverine. I think he's just discovered that that Wolverine is AFK. And he's moving down, and watch this. We both crossed the cap into the cap circle at the exact same moment. Now I've paused the game here because time is running out. And so when I say time was running out, there was a pause there because you only get 10 minutes recording with Bandicam, and I had to pause the recording. I was nearly at the 10-minute mark. So that's what that was. That's me doing a new Bandicam now. If I'd got into the circle moments earlier, or he'd still been alive when I got there, I might have been able to see him and get a hit on him. If I had HE now, I'd be firing random shots, and one would only have to go off near him and do the slightest amount of damage to him to reset the cap. But I'm firing random shots. I don't know where he is. If I were him, I would be hiding behind the Wolverine, the wreckage of the Wolverine. I know this, and I try putting some shots behind it, like you see now. But now, I genuinely wish I hadn't driven through the crap in the centre of the cap circle, because that might be a place where he'd try hiding behind that. As it's not there, he's not going to. But, yeah, basically it now comes down to whether I can hit him before the timer runs out. If I can put a round into him, I've only got 4 rounds left as it is. If I can put a round into him, I can reset his cap and we'll win this. But I need to hurry up if I'm going to do it. I think most of you have guessed I'm not going to do it. Time's up. I haven't got time enough to fire. And the game ends up, I'm afraid, as a draw. Okay, and so on to the results. As you can see, it was a draw. Yes, it was a draw, but I appear to have a badge in that corner. And it's one that I've had only once before. Funnily enough, it was still in this tank. It's the Raider. You get this for remaining undetected throughout the entire battle and being the only player to capture the enemy base. Jingles told me it's one of the hardest badges to get, and this was my second ever one of them. Both of them have been received in my SU-26. But at least last time when I got one, we won. It wasn't as good a game as that, but yeah, I got myself a Raider, and that's great. But you know, I'd have preferred us to win the match. If you look at the team score, middle of the road, considering I'm in a tier 3, I've actually done really quite well to get that amount of damage. Obviously, it was all through other people's spotting, but you know, did pretty well. It's just a shame that the match had to end in a draw. If I'd been in their VK, I would have sprinted down to our base and killed me. But he didn't do it, so it was a draw. Looking at the detailed report, fired 47 rounds, hit 9, and 7 of those penetrated, doing a reasonable amount of damage considering only 7 of them penned. But I didn't carry any HE, and that was a clusterfuck by me. This would have been such a different match if I'd somehow managed to check my tank beforehand and carry some HE shells. In fact, carry more HE shells than AP shells. What a stupid mistake to make. Normally I'd end the video here, but I don't want to leave it on such a depressing note. So I have another SU-26 video to show you now instead.
King Joffrey's parents were brother and sister, and he was a fair and wise leader.
Let's go.
Okay, so on to the second SU-26 match I wanted to show you. This one, the first thing you're going to look at is the ammunition. Yes, I have loaded mainly HE shells with very few AP shells. As you saw in the last match, you can do damage with AP shells, but HE shells are far more useful. And we're here on Swamp. Not a great fan of this map, but I've never played it in an artillery before, so give it a go. We've got some guys pushing forward. I'm trying to cover them. Miss. Trying to lead my shots. Sometimes he's moving, sometimes he isn't. Even when he isn't, I miss anyway. However, he's about to drive into a rock. And so I ninja a kill. Now, at first I was thinking, oh, I've just seen him off. But, you know, with the amount of tanks that are down there, I think he'll be glad of one less shooting at him. I think he'd have liked to have the kill himself, but I'm hoping that he was glad to have one less shooting at him. And, you know what, considering it's scumbaggery, I'm actually quite enjoying playing with the SU-26. It's not the experience it used to be. It used to be so fun. But the few games I've played in it, I've actually had a good time doing it. And I managed to get my 6th sense on it up. Which is nice, but it's a little late. Back in the day, it would have been great to have 6th sense on it. But by now, it's just that it's not really doing much for me. I'm just firing rounds off right, left and Chelsea here.
Enemy armor is destroyed.
And with a random shot at a stug that I could no longer see, I get my 2nd kill. That was the flukiest shot of the game, by far. I didn't know where he was anymore. Well, I knew roughly where he was, but my shell was unlikely to hit the target if I could see him. The fact that I could no longer see him and the shell somehow found him and did enough damage to kill him, that was just incredible. But as you heard there, critical hit. But I'm firing off my rounds just like there's no tomorrow. They don't cost a lot to replace, so I'm not shy about firing. But as you can see, the aiming circle is huge and very often likes to miss. I always find if you're going to use artillery, it's always better to aim slightly in front of the target, because that way if the round does go where the dot is aimed at and it actually hits that target, it's like to go over. It's not like to go over the target, it's like to hit the target on the way through. If you put it slightly short and it goes to where it is, it's not going to reach the target. If you put it slightly over, there's still a chance it'll hit it, unless it's something very low down, like a flat panzer or something like that. So I tend to to aim just over it. Now, someone's capping the base. If one of our tanks gets in there and spots, I'll be happy to put a round in there. I fire that shot way too late. The problem is, there's a big cliff in between me and the target and the cap circle, so I can't help from where I am. With that in mind, I don't worry about helping. To be honest with you, there's little I could have done in my tier 3 in that situation anyway. But yes, I'm firing off shots right, left, and Chelsea, and I'm not really keeping an eye on my ammunition. I'm not worrying about that KV-1 that's in the cap circle, because frankly everybody else is taking care of him.
We didn't penetrate their armor.
And I didn't penetrate their armor. And I missed completely with that one. And that's it, someone's killed him. The cap circle is secure. Right, I've moved out of the bushes that I was in. So I'm in a certain amount of trouble. Because if something spots me... Missed with that one. But he's got other things to think about.
We didn't even scratch them.
Didn't even scratch them. Didn't need to worry about him. Missed completely.
Critical hit.
Oh, I did some damage to him.
That was close.
Close but no cigar. And that,
Critical hit.
doing 5 damage, was my last piece of HE ammo. I'm now out. They have 2 tanks left, we have 3. Time for me to move on, I think. Get back into some cover. If someone spots him, then... Or if he comes over here, then he could spot me quite easily. So, there he is. Do I fire... No need to waste one of my AP rounds on him. He's been killed by someone else. Right, we have 2 tanks left, they have 2 tanks left. I've stopped to write in chat that I'm out of HE ammo. There it is. And from here on, chat will become very important. Missed him. KV-1 gets the kill on him. Chat will become very important because I use it to get some vital information. Now you know what I'm doing. I'm running to farm some loser points. Although in this case, it's a tactical decision. Right, chat. You see there, he's asking me if I've got any rounds left at all. I've told him there that I have 11 rounds of AP and 0 HE. Our 82's saying good. Don't waste your rounds that you've got. It's 2-on-1. Unfortunately though, it's just become 1-on-1. Our KV-1's bit the dust. So now, it's me in my little tier 3 artillery with no HE rounds versus him in his tier 4. And this is where I start thinking about this. I need to know how much health he has left. I don't know. Because if it comes to a one-on-one fight, I might be able to shotgun him if he's on low enough health, if I can use this highly inaccurate gun to pinpoint a weakness and actually penetrate it, hit it and do the damage. So you're looking, chat here, what's his health? And I forgot about the Bandicam recording time here, so we're about to have a bit of a jump because it's about to hit the 10-minute mark. You'll see he's just answered 59%, I think, and in about 5 seconds time Bandicam's going to stop recording. So what I have to do is I have to jump the video back 20 seconds and start recording at about the moment that I thought it stopped. And as you can see, I missed it a bit, so it doesn't line up. I could take my time and line these up perfectly so you'd have never known. But what the hell. There you go, I've answered cheers. I needed to know that. What the hell, I made a cock up, I've showed it in the video. And so, like the previous game, I've gone for the cap circle. Now I thought about hiding in that crater there, but you know what? That one over there looks deeper. And so I'm showing as little of my tank as possible. Not a great deal of advantage in that, because he can still see the top of my turret, and my turret is as likely to stop a shot as, well, some tin foil, really. The AT2, the one who's giving me all the good advice, is saying don't stay here or you'll die. But the fact is, the only chance I've got to win this is by capping. And as you can see, I answered that my only chance in chat. My only chance to win this is by cap. Lots of people telling me where they think he's going to come from. Lots of people telling me 2 different directions where he's going to come from. I can only point my gun in one direction. I'm pointing out here, AP will not kill him in one shot. And it won't. If he's on 59%, an AP round, unless I get lucky in ammo racking, which I can't do, will not kill him in one shot. So anyway, he's getting desperate now. He's left it too late, and he tries to tempt me out by saying, come and fight. I don't blame him for trying this. It's a last-ditch effort. But I bravely say, no! I want the win here, and I think I've earned it. I'm getting good jobs from everybody there. And so, we win. Okay, so here we are on the results page then. As you can see, made a few hits in this game. Nowhere near as many as I did in the previous game. But, like in the previous game, got myself a Raider. That's number 3 for me. And in a much better situation as well. Managed to get it with a win rather than having to settle for that really unsatisfactory draw. But with this Raider, I got myself an Invader. You get that for getting at least 80 capture points. Now, I don't cap very often, so this is not one that I get very often. In fact, this is only my 9th one in total. Didn't get one in the last game because we didn't win. You only get it if you happen to be on the winning team. And as it was a draw, despite getting the full 100 capture points, I didn't get the Invader. Looking at the team score, I'm way down on the score here. I didn't do anywhere near as much damage as I did in the last game. But, you know, it doesn't matter. My actions won us the game, which was nice. Looking at the detailed report, 37 rounds fired. 8 of them hit, and apparently 6 of them penned. But also did some splash damage as well. I think it was the 2 shots on that. I can't remember what the tank was, but small amount of damage. Total damage 187 scored, and all of that was from over 300 meters. Yeah, really nice game. Much more satisfactory raider. Yeah, that's it really. I hope you enjoyed the game as much as or the games as much as I did playing them. And I'll catch you next time. Bye.